Hello and welcome. So if you've ever felt that jolt of anxiety when you see system design interview pop up on your schedule, then you're definitely in the right place. Today, we're going to break down a really powerful framework from Alex Su's fantastic book, System Design Interview. The whole goal is to turn that intimidation into pure confidence. Let's get into it.
And this quote just hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? It's that huge, open-ended question, that ambiguity that can be so daunting. It seriously feels like you're being asked to boil the entire ocean in, 45 minutes?
That is the million-dollar question we are tackling today. And the good news is there's a reliable strategy. There's a mental map that you can follow every single time. And in this explainer, we are going to give you that exact map.
Okay, so here's our roadmap for today. We'll start by digging into the challenge itself. Then we're going to flip the script and see things from the interviewer's side. After that, we'll unpack the core four-step framework, see how it works in action, and then wrap everything up with some crucial tips for success.
So first things first, let's just acknowledge it. These interviews are tough for a reason. And believe me, it's not just about what you know technically.
Right. The crucial thing to understand is that the difficulty is intentional. It's all designed to see how you handle ambiguity, how you collaborate with a colleague on a kind of vague problem, and how you think on your feet. The skills you actually use every single day as an engineer. The process matters so much more than the final diagram.
Now, let's totally shift our perspective. This is probably the biggest secret to succeeding in these interviews. You need to understand what the interviewer is actually trying to measure. It's not just about whether you can design Twitter from scratch.
See, they're looking for strong signals about you as a potential coworker. Can you collaborate and treat them like a teammate? Do you ask smart, insightful questions to clear up confusion instead of just making assumptions? How you approach the problem, well, that's the real test.
And on the flip side, they're absolutely looking for red flags. Over-engineering is a classic one. Designing a system for 1 billion users when the requirement is for 1,000. Another big one is being stubborn or just not open to feedback. You have to remember it's a conversation, not a lecture.
Okay, so now that we get the why, let's get to the how. This right here is the core of our explainer, a simple, repeatable four-step framework that's going to bring some much-needed structure to all that chaos.
And here it is, 4 clear, simple steps. First, you understand and scope the problem. Then, you propose a high-level design. Third, you deep dive into the most critical parts. And finally, you wrap it all up. This is your mental checklist from now on.
All right, let's see how this framework actually plays out in a real interview setting. We're going to walk through each of these steps one by one. This first step is without a doubt the most critical one. You absolutely must resist the urge to just start drawing boxes on the whiteboard. Seriously, slow down. Your job here is to be a detective. Ask about specific features, ask about scale, like how many daily active users are we talking about, and ask about any existing tech you can or should be using.
What's great is that Alex Su tells this story about Jimmy. We all know a Jimmy, right? That's the kid in class who shoots his hand up to answer first, whether he actually knows the answer or not. In a system design interview, being Jimmy gets you 0 points. It's a huge red flag. So remember, clarify first, design second.
Okay, once you've got those requirements locked down, now you can start sketching out the big picture. Think about the key components. You've got your clients, probably a load balancer, some web servers, a database, maybe a cache. This is your initial blueprint, and the key here is to get buy-in. You have to ask your interviewer, hey, does this high-level approach make sense to you?
And this is a perfect illustration of what that looks like. Here we can see a simple, clean, high-level design for getting a newsfeed. You see the user, a load balancer, web servers, a cache. It's clean, it communicates the main idea, and it's a fantastic starting point for a deeper conversation.
Now it's time to zoom in. You can't deep dive on every single component, that's impossible, so you work with the interviewer. You can ask them something like, which part of this design seems most interesting or maybe the most challenging to you? This is where you get to show off your real technical depth on the parts of the system that actually matter most.
And here are some great examples of what that deep dive can look like visually. On the left, you've got the detailed flow for publishing a post, and involves things like a fan-out service and message queues. And on the right, you've got the retrieval flow. This is how you show you can think through really complex interactions and data flows. And finally, the wrap-up. Don't just stop when you finish the deep dive. This is your chance to leave a really strong final impression. You can talk about potential bottlenecks in the system, discuss how you'd monitor it, maybe even suggest some future improvements. Show them you're thinking about the full life cycle of a system, not just the drawing.
All right, we've gone through the whole framework. Now let's boil everything down into a final toolkit of best practices you can take with you.
This slide right here is your ultimate cheat sheet. For the do's, always, always ask for clarification. Communicate constantly. Never think in silence. And treat the interviewer like your teammate. On the don't side, don't just jump straight into a solution, and please don't get stuck in the weeds too early. This is pure gold.
And to make it even more practical, here's a rough guide for your time management, assuming a 45-minute interview. Notice how the biggest chunk of time is spent on that high-level design and the deep dive, but those super important first and last steps still get their dedicated time. Pacing yourself is absolutely key. So look, this framework isn't just theory, it's a tool. And like any tool, it gets better and sharper with practice. So my question to you is this: what's the first system you're going to practice designing using these steps? A URL shortener? A chat app? Pick one and start practicing. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. Thanks for watching.